Well, joining us here in the studio, let me do a quick introduction. Rajesh Kalra is joining us here in the studio, Chief Editor of Times Internet. To his right is Seba Farooqi, General Secretary of the All India Democratic Women's Association in Delhi. Saba Naqvi, Political Editor of the Outlook magazine. Thank you very much. Dr. Indu Agnihotri, Secretary and Director, Women Development Studies, is with us in the studio. And Meenakshi Lekhi is a social activist. She's with us, and to my immediate right is Meenakshi Lekhi. My first question goes to you, Meenakshi. Also, I'd like to welcome on this very eminent panel Kiran Majumdar-Shaw, who is joining us from Bengaluru, a Times Now viewer. Radhika Ganesh is joining us from Chennai. Shaina NC is joining us from Mumbai. It's a Radhika Ganesh from Chennai, Shaina from Mumbai. It's an all-women's panel, except Rajesh.
And you.
And me. It's good to be overwhelmed sometimes. I want to first begin by asking you, let me go across to Kiran Majumdar-Shaw, to the voice from Bangalore first. Ms. Shaw, you have been seeing this outrage. Do you feel that this was just waiting to happen? And perhaps not just in Delhi, but in many of our metros, many parts of India, that this will lead to some kind of a new awakening, perhaps? Are you optimistic about this?
You know, Arnab, first and foremost, I feel ashamed to call myself an Indian today. First and foremost, I feel that we've become a depraved, lawless and shameless society which has no respect for its women. We call ourselves a motherland, and is this the way we treat women in our country? I mean, what have we been reduced to? It has to start with really asking ourselves this very serious question: what is wrong with our society? So, you know, apart from looking at what the police have to do, and certainly I think there is a lot to be done in terms of bringing about a law-abiding citizenry, I think it's extremely important for us to look at ourselves and say, what is going wrong in our society? I have never seen this kind of unseemly and horrific behavior on the part of anybody. And that's what makes me really, really very sad. So it is an inflection point, it is an awakening, and I think the country has to get together and, really make sure that we never let this happen again.
But why are so many people out in such large numbers? Bina Lakshmi, let me put that question to you. It is one incident, it's a horrific incident, but the response that we have had is national. Why do you think it's evokes such a strong response?
I have the same question, Arnab. Just 2 years back, a girl from Mizoram was raped at Dholakwa. Right. That was not so much outrage like that. Just then in 2009, a girl was sexually molested and burned to death in Munirka by an IIT PhD student. When we took the issue to many women's groups in India, they said, we thought that the Northeast groups would have tackled the case. So we still wonder.
That's shocking.
That's really shocking. So I really feel bad for the girl who is struggling for her life. It's a shame that any violence of women committed to any women in other parts of India should be condemned.
No, but it's gone on a bit too far, hasn't it? I mean, isn't that part of the problem as well, Saba? Do you think it's gone on for a bit too far, and Delhi particularly?
Arnab, I think what you have in Delhi, there have been so many incidents. You have these shining sort of malls, and you have people who are prospering, and Delhi is still built on urban villages where you don't know who these people are, and there is such a sort of social changes are happening so rapidly in these metros, and there have been a series of incidents which, as a journalist, I've observed. Guwahati, where a girl is molested outside, and people seem to sort of revel in that. And actually, what occurs to me is, on the one hand, you have attitudes, social attitudes, where men say, oh, these girls had it coming. Then on the other hand, when something so horrific and so bestial happens, as the details of this case are, which is not even rape, this is about
perversion of an unimaginable degree.
When something like this happens, then we say, hang them. So, we have to sort of look into ourselves.
But we too have to go beyond seasonal interest in these issues.
Absolutely,
I think the media too must, and I would say this. But I'd like to, go across to Khushbu to get a sense of how it's being viewed by someone in Chennai. Khushbu, both as a women's activist and as someone who has spoken to us on women's rights issues and these kind of issues so many times in the past. How do you sense the outpouring that has come up in this particular case, also from your own city?
Arnab, I think people have come to a stage where they say we are not going to be resilient about it. Enough is enough. You see the amount of people on the streets all over India in support of this girl, demanding immediate effect, that the rapist should be hanged or they should be given the most severe punishment, which can set an example for the next people who would even shudder to think of molesting a woman or even sexually molesting it in a very remote way, to set an example. I think we have come to a stage where we say enough. We are not going to take this anymore. We demand respect because we deserve that respect. And we need to put a full stop to this. We do not want another woman being sexually assaulted or raped in our country. This is the limit and we cannot go beyond that. We have come to that stage where we all want to come together and say, including the media, including you, including every person in this country, where we say enough. Put a full stop, whether it's Delhi, whether it's Chennai, Bangalore, Mumbai, Guwahati, Mizoram, anywhere. Put a full stop. We cannot accept this anymore.
I don't want to get into politician bashing, but there is no alternative on this, Meenakshi, is there? I mean, in Delhi, the issue is also extreme because right on the screen right now on our channel, we are saying 3 for them, 1 for 716 of us. How fair is that? That kind of, focus. Is the Delhi police a private army for the VIPs? Is there any doubt about that now?
No, I think we've been, I have lived in this city all my life and I can recall, and as you rightly pointed out, that time for media also to go into recall mode. That how many cases have come up, what has happened, what has been culminated into final trial, what has happened to the people, plus the issue of policing. And the issue of policing, Sabha raised slightly that issue, that Delhi is an urbanized village, and in this urbanized village, when we talked about an urbanization, we forget that do we have the facilities to cater to this kind of population? Have we built the infrastructure for such a population? What kind of policemen have we provided?
You're not answering my question.
No, I'm answering your question because
according to a report by the Bureau of Police Research and Development released in April this year, the increase in protected persons protection deployment is the main reason which has strained the limited police resources of Delhi.
One has been fighting over
why don't the VIP
19 years.
No, but don't the police...
And I remember I've been personally involved in one such matter, and strangely enough that 19 years later the same matter comes up. And
no, so why are politicians unwilling to give up? I mean, is there some sense of shame out here? Because even in the Delhi Assembly, when this issue was raised, Sheila Dikshit immediately stands up and says, oh my God, did a politician get attacked? Was a politician, MLA hurt? I give a promise on the floor of the Delhi Assembly that I will spend revenue from the state government to ensure security to every single MLA in this assembly. No, that is, I think, playing to the gallery. She's playing to the gallery, and even you're not saying it. She's playing to the BJP gallery as well.
No, she's not playing to the BJP gallery. I want to bring out another issue right now. The issue was when the kids were protesting in front of her house today, the water cannon and they were lathi charged.
I'll put the pictures up there. In fact,
and a situation like this, when these young students, unarmed and only willing to project the state of affairs in the city, are protesting, I think the least a politician can do is go up to them, meet them, understand their point of view, give them assurance, and even that has not been done.
And so right now, as I go to Rajesh, we'll put 2 sets of pictures of Rajesh. One is what is, that's what angers the people more, I think. Because many of the people who got water cannoned, I can tell you, are there at India Gate now. It's not going to stop their resolve. These are young people, they will fight and they will fight back. And it's not a political force, is it, Rajesh, which is raising these questions? It's not CPM or BJP out to embarrass Sheila Dikshit.
All of them.
Rajesh?
See, perception management is so important. I don't think our politicians realize that at all. Look
You're
at what
saying this in
happened.
the context of the pictures being played right now. Go ahead. No. You can't see them, but it's on the screen. The way in which the protesters were treated.
No, but why I'm saying this is, look at Ireland. less than a month ago, they realized there was an international outrage. They actually have gone ahead and done something. They actually go and do something proactively because the world realizes that this is not the right thing to do. Hey, we sit on it, we will make, pious platitudes, all these statements. 20 days down the line, everybody will forget about it. That's what the fear is.
No, and it has to be beyond lip service. Concrete things have to be done.
This is what I think Kiran said right in the beginning, asking why is it that, it's not that it's the first rape in the country, the first rape in the city, it keeps happening. But like the anti-corruption movement, people have had enough. They are absolutely sick of it all.
Can I just get all the panelists? I'm coming back to you. I think the problem also is that politicians go into victim mode very quickly.
Completely.
And I'm sorry to say this, women chief ministers have gone into this victim mode. Mamata Banerjee's reaction to the Park Street rape case was, oh my God, they are after me again. And the media has, is on the payrolls of the left parties and they're after me. She failed to see the issue in its right perspective. I fear Sheila Dikshit also perhaps is in victim mode. What do you think, Shaina?
Let me start by saying that I think it's absolutely appalling that there's no fear of law, because time and again we've seen that these molesters, rapists just get away and get away scot-free. Look at the reaction from a Sheila Dikshit. What has she said? She said that, in Delhi now we're going to have CCTV cameras. Is that the kind of approach you want when you have an incident such as this? Look at Sushil Kumar Shinde yesterday in Parliament, where he says that this is the rarest of rare, so we will have a fast-track court. Arnab, you know more than anyone else, in Mumbai, the Keenan Rubin case, 1 year down the line, it is only date after date, and even now the trial has not even started. If you're going to give this special status to this case, it's great. But what about the 40,000 cases that are still pending, where there are no questions, no answers? And look at the conviction rate. When it comes to the police, the thing that I think is absolutely appalling is we're constantly discussing the mindset in the country of a society as a whole. But what about the police, who questions every single girl about how she's dressed, why she was there, who she was attracting, and what was her business to be there? So if we think by, making sure that buses don't have tinted glasses, that being a solution, I think we're just going down into that same vicious circle of trying to come up with solutions which really are not concrete enough. So if you have to make sure...
I find that none of the politicians here, with all respect, there are two from the BJP on this panel, but I don't see an open-mindedness in either of you.
Open-mindedness.
To acknowledge
Arnab, they should not have security at all.
And also today, politicians as in, today in Parliament, there was no time to discuss this issue. And I think it was completely shocking, and I just want to get your sense on it, Seba Farooqi, as well, before we go into the bigger issue. While this was happening, while these protests were gathering steam at India Gate, you saw this frivolous, attempt in the Rajya Sabha. Some Samajwadi Party MP snatches a piece of paper. Then there's a little game going on. These political tricks were on in the floor of the Rajya Sabha instead of a serious discussion on this particular issue, which is so many of our viewers have written to us saying, why can't the Parliament of India, on a day when there is anger outside, represent the views of the people of this country on this issue inside Parliament? Ms. Farooqi.
अर्नब, मैं समझती हूँ कि मेरा गला गवर्नमेंट का और कुछ पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज का जो रवैया है महिलाओं की तरफ, वो बहुत ही केयरलेस अंदाज है. अगर ऐसा ना होता तो 33% रिजर्वेशन के लिए इतना लंबा जो हमारा आंदोलन चल रहा है वो ऐसे खटाई में नहीं पड़ता. महिलाओं से संबंधित जो भी कानून है, एसिड अटैक का कानून अभी तक खटाई में पड़ा हुआ है. सेक्सुअल हैरेसमेंट एट वर्क प्लेस के ऊपर कानून पे कुछ नहीं हुआ. तो ये ऐसा नहीं है कि ये जो पार्लियामेंट के अंदर जो लोग मौजूद हैं उनके अंदर कुछ सीरियस भी हैं, कुछ नॉन सीरियस भी हैं. ऐसा नहीं है कि सभी लोगों को हम एक लाठी से हाँकेंगे, लेकिन ये ज़रूर है कि महिलाओं के सवाल के ऊपर जो हमारी पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज़ या जो हमारी उस तरफ बुर्जुआ पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज हैं, उनका रवैया ये है कि वो
बुर्जुआ पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज में कौन? अब बीजेपी को भी बुर्जुआ पॉलिटिकल पार्टी मानते हैं?
मैं समझती हूँ लेफ्ट पार्टीज को छोड़ के तमाम पार्टीज जिन्होंने कभी भी सीरियसली इस सवाल को नहीं लिया, ना महिलाओं के सवाल के ऊपर सीरियसली उन्होंने कोई सवाल. लेकिन इससे ज्यादा मैं ये समझती हूँ कि ये पूरा जो मुद्दा है जो आप पूरे शुरू में उठा रहे हैं.
तो आप ये कह रहे हैं कि सुषमा स्वराज जो खड़े होकर कहती है कुछ या फिर दूसरे लीडर्स कहते हैं सब लिप सर्विस है.
जी, मैं
ये वो मीन नहीं करते उसको.
मैं इसलिए समझती हूँ कि अगर ये बात को सीरियसली कहा जा रहा होता तो गुजरात के दंगों के टाइम के ऊपर जब मुस्लिम औरतों के ऊपर अटैक हुए थे तो उनको कहीं लेजिटिमाइज नहीं किया जाता कि आपने बहुत ठीक किया कि वहां पर उस कौम को सुधारने का तरीका यही था। तो हमें ये बात,
तो आप कह रहे हैं एबीवीपी के जितने कार्यकर्ता है, बीजेपी के जो लीडर्स है, स्मृति ईरानी वगैरह, जो आज बीजेपी महिला मोर्चा ऑफ विच शी इज द वाइस प्रेसिडेंट एज वेल, नहीं, बट यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट देम दैट दिस इज ऑल अ पॉलिटिकल, नो, लेट अस बी क्लियर अबाउट इट, दैट दिस इज अ प्योर, नो, देयर आर लॉट ऑफ पीपल।
कंप्लीट करने देंगे?
आप
जवाब दीजिए, मुझे कंप्लीट करने दीजिए। मैं ये कहना चाहती हूँ कि मैं किसी लीडर का नाम नहीं ले रही हूँ, मैं एक पॉलिटिकल सोच की बात कर रही हूँ।
आप कह रहे हैं दिस इज हिपोक्रेसी।
जी, जिसके अंदर एक तरफ आप इस तरह के एक्शंस को लेजिटिमाइज करते हैं, उनके सिरों पर हाथ रखते हैं, और दूसरी तरफ आप खड़े होकर कहते हैं कि ये बहुत बुरा हुआ।
So understood. You are saying this is pure hypocrisy. Quick response before I go to Ms. Anju.
सबा फारूकी जी ने जो कहा वो बिल्कुल बेबुनियाद और गलत है, क्योंकि जो 2002 के दंगों को ये हर वक्त लेके आती हैं, तो उनको जरा मैं समझाना चाहती हूँ कि 2002 के दंगों में जिन लोगों ने इस तरीके की वहशियाना हरकत की, उनके खिलाफ मामले दर्ज हुए और उनके नतीजे भी निकले, और जहां पर 2 ऐसे केस थे, बाकी तमाम केस झूठे पाए गए, और ऐसे फर्जी लोगों को ऐसी संस्थाएं खड़ा भी करती हैं, वो भी एक सच्चाई है। और साथ में सच्चाई ये है कि जब रेप केसेस की बात आती है, तो रेप केसेस की जब स्टैटिस्टिक्स की लोग बात करते हैं, तो क्योंकि मैं कोर्ट कचहरी में काम करती हूं, तो उस स्टैटिस्टिक्स में 2 स्टैटिस्टिक्स और हैं। अगर आप अंदरूनी तौर पर केसेस को देखेंगे, एक स्टैटिस्टिक्स है कि जहां पर कंसेंटिंग पार्टीज होती हैं, उनके बीच में कंसेंशुअल सेक्स होता है, और उसको फिर रेप की परिभाषा में भी दिया जाता है। दूसरा ये भी है, नहीं, अब आप कहते हैं कि कन्विक्शन रेट की जो बात हो रही है ना, आप सुन, अब मेरे को मेरी बात पूरी करने दीजिए। No, this is not a standard argument. Allow me to complete.
No, but she disagrees with you. She disagrees with you.
She can disagree. Allow me to complete.
This is the same reason why this is the, Meenakshi, I'll let you, but allow me to make one point that today, if there are so many people who are telling us the first thing that you do with a person who says I have been raped or molested is say that were you in some relationship?
No way.
Did you have willing sexual intercourse with the person?
I'm sorry, I'm not talking about
how close were you? What clothes were you wearing?
I am not talking about that mindset.
What time of the day or night did you meet the person?
I am not talking about this mindset. Allow me to complete my argument.
This is exactly the problem.
There are, I mean, I have practiced law, and I practice this side of law, and I have seen cases with very close proximity. So you can't say that all cases fall in. There is a gradation. There is a gradation when rape is also used as a
how is there
weapon.
A gradation
but
of rape?
At the same time, cases
how is
like
there a gradation of rape?
There is
a gradation of rape.
How can it be?
How can you have a gradation of rape?
Can I tell you? Can I tell you?
You'll have to. No, I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you. I'll come back. No, but you have to hear her.
This point has to finish. I can show you cases.
No,
I can show you cases. One line. I can show you cases where call details have been caught that the person was not even at that place, and person has come back at 9:30.
Meenakshi, come on. No, Meenakshi. First of all, with all respect to you,
let us not try to divert the issue.
Please. Hear her, please.
This city is in anger. People are in anger. Yes. They are putting pressure on politicians, on the police, on the administration, saying, give us an answer and give us security.
Yes.
And the youth...
Let her complete.
Please,
let her complete.
We have heard what you have said. Let us not divert the issue. Let us also...
One second. I want to show the pictures on the screen right now.
Please.
I want to put out the pictures on the screen because something is happening in India Gate, which I am getting details about. It's a moving camera. You can see that. We'll get full frame pictures out there. Apparently, the media is also being asked to leave that place, from what I understand. And I think there are a lot of protesters who are still sitting there. I hope there is no attempt made by the Delhi police to force them out of India Gate. And people have a right to protest. They must be allowed to protest in India Gate. Let me see what details I can get. You can see the police force has landed up there. And I can see very clearly. Let's go across to Anand. What's happening behind you? Are they actually trying to move the protesters out of India Gate? Forcibly.
Methods of protesting.
Anand?
The Delhi police copying a lot of flack, having to exert a lot of patience so that there is not further negative publicity for them. But the big question comes about the security that some of the nation's VVIPs enjoy. For one VVIP, as many as 3 to 5 policemen. What if these policemen were deployed for the cause of the common citizen, the taxpayer who's funding that
Okay, we're going to come back to that. Anand, I'm going to come back to you, but I'm going to allow Dr. Agnihotri to rebut the point which you're making there on gradations of rape.
Firstly, as far as resources go, this city knows that all resources, whether it is security, whether it is money, whether it is electricity, whether it is infrastructural development, all resources have a bias towards a certain section of the population and a certain part of the city. That is well known, and you can prove it through MCD budgets, NDMC budgets. It is well known. It is coming out most glaring on the security.
So to what Meenakshi says?
As far as the gradation, let us also make a note of it that it is not just all the laws that Sehba referred to, but the sexual assault bill has also been pending before our government for a very long time. We have a colonial law which defines rape wrongly, which defines rape incompletely and insufficiently, and not just
so why doesn't section 307 it's all right to give long speeches in parliament, but section 307, attempt to murder of the IPC, can be amended to include rape and types of sexual assault under its preview?
There are written recommendations, well discussed and gone through the National Commission for Women, which are pending before government, which government is sitting on for the last more than, I mean, we have been part of this process since 1992. From many of the women's organizations, we have been part of this process since the early 90s. The first time we went, I remember Dr. Narasimha Rao was in government when we went on the question of guidelines and revised rules, etc., and a redefinition of rape, especially also child abuse. That was the time. But the other point is about the gradation. This is an old argument of the police, just as politicians have been saying that, oh, what was she doing at this time of the night, etc. There is a debate, there is an issue about statutory rape.
There is an issue on mindset.
The police gets away by saying she knew the boy.
I want to add to what Sehba
Meenakshi, either you speak and all of us leave the channel. You cannot have the whole...
let her complete. Let her complete.
You cannot do it. If you come to a debate, then please debate.
I think we should start timing.
No, please debate if you want to debate. We also, you said you had 10 years of experience, however many in the course. We have 40 years of experience on the streets of Delhi and in this movement.
Same here. And I have been part of all that.
Yes. But there are disagreements on the issue of statutory rape.
I'm coming to Meenakshi. Just want to get Radhika Ganesh, who's the Times Now viewer, in. You know, let's bring it down to one issue. How concerned are politicians genuinely on an issue such as this? I mean, I don't even want to get into the details, but the starting premise is politicians are not concerned. They pay lip service. They don't look upon this as a vote bank issue, as a constituency building issue. Women are not looked upon as a vote bank, and till women are not looked upon as a vote bank, they don't quite care. Which is why today they were busy fighting like children over a quota bill, snatching papers in parliament, but they were not interested in debating this issue. If this had got them votes, then perhaps they would have. Radhika Ganesh, where do you stand on this whole debate of whether the VVIP culture is responsible for the indifference which leads to incidents like this?
You know, Arnab, it's ridiculous that tonight on this show we're here discussing numbers. We talk about the number of police personnel put out there for VIP protection, security protection, but I don't think the numbers are going to make a difference because the same policemen are out there assaulting these women. You know, they character assassinate these women who go to them for protection. So are you going to tell me that if I have 5,000 more policemen on the streets of Delhi or anywhere else in India, I'm going to be more safe? I don't trust that. I don't believe so, because there is absolute inefficiency and incompetence in their behavior. As well, you know, you just some time ago disclosed a few documents by Mr. Sandeep Dixit, and it's shocking to me because there's distrust within the government. How are we to trust the government to do anything for us? And there's absolute complacence, and the nonchalance with which they're dealing with this issue today is ridiculous. And we shouldn't be discussing numbers. We should be looking at it with a more holistic approach, because Delhi is not the only place that's unsafe for women in India. Rapes happen every day, everywhere. Even today, when I was walking to your studio over, I got grabbed by an automan who was just passing me on the street. So this happens to women every day. What are we going to do about it? It's a larger issue. We need to amend the archaic laws we have. As we just discussed, the definition of rape and sexual assault need to be broadened. Any sort of you know, things that are outside the law are being used to take this up very lightly.
You're completely
and it's not
right,
going to help.
But you know, politicians believe in political opportunism.
No,
Radhika.
May I just make a very
One
quick
second,
point?
Meenakshi.
Yes,
you know, it's all right to give all these speeches. No, it's all right to give these speeches. When somebody wants to make sure Mayawati is on our right side, so let's discuss this to keep Mayawati happy for a day. Now we have to get the Samajwadi Party on our right side.
To do that.
So we'll do something to keep the Samajwadi Party busy for a day. Isn't it true, Khushbu? That's how the UPA government is working.
Can I just
You're very happy keeping Mayawati happy by pushing the quota bill. Why can't a similar time frame be put on all the issues concerning, for example, laws against rape, changing the IPC, including sexual assault, talking about the police deployment required for the Aam Aadmi? Just tell me today, as a UPA ally, don't you feel worried about this? Don't you feel the government is spending absolutely too much time on trivial issues like keeping Mayawati busy on a quota promotion bill? And as far as something like this is concerned, nothing. One quick visit to the hospital, photo opportunity, over. Isn't that sad, Khushbu, that it's down to this?
Let's not politicize the issue, Arnab. It's not about
I'm not politicizing. I'm telling you the reality.
Let me finish.
Khushbu, I'm telling you the reality. This is not politicizing.
I'm here today. I am here today because I am ashamed to call myself a citizen of this country. I'm here today because
that's all right. But you are also a part of the ruling alliance in Delhi.
I am part of the ruling alliance in Delhi, but I'm not going to speak as an alliance. I am going to speak as a person. If I have the freedom to speak my mind.
I want you to speak as a member of the UPA. Are you comfortable? Are you comfortable with the disproportionate time given to Mayawati on the quota promotion bill as compared to this? Take a position tonight.
I'm not comfortable with the scenario which happens in the parliament every day. I'm not at all comfortable with the scenario which happens in the parliament every day.
Because it is this indifference that leads to the kind of gang rapes we have seen.
Small country like Ireland, with the death of a doctor who was denied an abortion, and they can bring in a rule
but they were forced to come into sync. You had protests in Ireland, they changed the law.
Yes, you had
protests in Delhi. Where is the change in the law?
Absolutely.
Let's get Meenakshi in, please. One second, Meenakshi wanted to come in.
37%.
1 second, yes. 1 minute, please,
37% of our members of parliament have criminal background records.
That's the point.
We have no politicians that we can adore, love and respect in this country. As a next generation of women activists in our country, we feel ashamed that this is happening right now. And why should we have the Thangjo Manoro case was shot 7 times in a private part to destroy evidence of rape. India did not rise then. We need to rise right now. And what's happening is why has for the last 30 years women's movement in India failed? We have got huge campaigns where money is poured in for ending violence against women by UN Women and others. Why has it failed? Our government has failed, international organizations have failed, we as women have failed. Well, it is time to really get about
I want to ask Ms. Mayawati a question today. I'm going to go on and on about this. That today, while all that drama was going on the quota bill, I get a statistic that among the 6 MP, MLA, MLCs who have declared rape charges in their affidavits is Muhammad Aleem Khan of the BSP from Bulandshahr constituency in Uttar Pradesh. Now, when MLAs have rape charges in their affidavits before the election commission, then this person continues. I mean, that's not an issue for Ms. Mayawati, because the moment you take a position on rape, you're going to have to take a position against rapists or alleged rapists in your own party.
Absolutely.
Rajesh, isn't that the problem?
No, absolutely. See, this is a huge credibility deficit among our rurals all over.
Yes.
Everybody is asking, in fact, because I look at internet, I see the kind of reactions. Everybody is asking, will the laws be used uniformly? Will they be, will everybody be dealt with uniformly? And people are asking DGP Rathor's case. Somebody actually sent me a message. He says, what about the man who ran a private airline in the garb of, a harem? Harem is a powerful, private airline. He was referring to Kanda.
Why I'm saying it's, Khushbu says I'm politicizing it. Khushbu, you are completely wrong. I'll tell you why. I'm going to read out a message that I just got from a viewer. Look at this. And China NC, I want to know whether you have an answer for it. It says, unfortunately, the rape happened in a Congress-ruled state. Hence, Sushma Swaraj, Smriti Irani and Jaya Bachchan were shedding crocodile tears. Had this happened in a BJP-ruled state, then what? In Punjab, the policeman got killed, saving his daughter. No one cried. No, 1 minute. Where were the long speeches then from Smriti Irani and Sushma Swaraj? Well, let's be clear about it. They're all pushing their own apple cart. This is how the people of India are viewing this today. And I don't think...
I think beyond observing that, yes, there is prejudice.
May I respond?
And partisanship which comes into play when people respond. I think the victim today, battling for survival literally today and for her life, I think we owe it to her that we carry out a more mature and a more balanced debate with some constructive suggestions.
Dr. Indu Agnihotri, I can have a debate in which we can list out 10 suggestions. I will just ask a straight question.
No,
a straight question is this.
For instance, the Delhi police will be most happy if we go on in this manner and we do not force them to have procedures in place.
Yesterday, by the way, we are not in the business of making anyone happy. Anyone who watches Times Now knows we don't care about making others happy. There may be others who want to. Yesterday there was the Joint Police Commissioner of Delhi who had a hard time on this very show at this very hour. So please don't say that. My point to you very clearly is, I want to put out a question to all the hypocrites. Where are the political parties on Khap Panchayats? Why are they all quiet? Is killing somebody for falling in love outside a community or a village not as heinous as this? Why does Ajit Singh not speak on it? Why does Mulayam Singh Yadav not do anything on it? Why is Mayawati quiet on it? Why is the Congress party and even the BJP queasy about it? Because you don't know how it will affect your vote bank in Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh. Sabha wants to. Sabha wants to make a point.
I'm just waiting to reply.
To accept the fact our political parties are representing a society which has very backward values at times.
Exactly.
And and at the same time we have this modern India bursting in our faces. So they're not going to do it. And as for your question for Mayawati, just to get back to it, she will, supposing you were ever to engage in a dialogue with her, she'll turn around and say, Arnab Goswami, have you covered Dalit rape? She will ask you that question. So politics also has its own ping pong that goes on. And in fact, one of the, I was overseeing one story on this in the office earlier, and the main thing is rapes have been happening. The media is scrutinizing them. And now, Arnab, now is the time where a channel media has such an important role to play. To play a constructive role
now
in looking at the social profiles of the different...
Now here's a social profile I want to pick up, and I want to put this question to Kiran Majumdar Show. Well, look at social profile. In April 2006, Ms. Shaw, when Times Now just started broadcasting, there was a news report we put out. It was about a fellow called Bitti Mohanty. He was about 21, 22-year-old. He was the son of a DGP of Orissa, Director General Police of Orissa. He was arrested on rape charges. He was convicted of raping a 26-year-old German tourist in Jaipur. The court sentenced him to a 7-year imprisonment, Ms. Shaw, and this is where the story is interesting. He was allowed to go for a 15-day parole to meet his ailing mother. His father was a DGP. His father allegedly helped his son escape from custody. That was 2006. The son of a DGP. Today it is 2012. And I am asking today, Naveen Patnaik, and to the Chief Minister of Rajasthan, Ashok Gehlot, where is Bitti Mohanty?
And what action
where is Bitti Mohanty? Because the son of a DGP gets away. A son of a DGP gets away with that kind of rape. So tomorrow somebody living in a lower income tenement in Delhi carries out a rape. He'll say the DGP's son gets away. I too will get away. Ms. Shaw, is that part of the problem?
He can't say it actually.
Arnab, it is disgusting what's happening. First and foremost, the apathy that people have to these kind of sexual assault cases is just awful. In Bangalore, for instance, you won't believe it, but there was a case of pedophile where the man has been released on bail. Now, these are things that are happening all the time. And what really, really angers me is that women who are victims of sexual assault are made to feel guilty. What kind of society are we? I mean, we've got to have law enforcement to make sure that all these cases are dealt with in a very expeditious manner, and justice must be meted out to all those who are guilty of this sexual assault. No matter how, and it's ridiculous that we have a discussion on gradation of sexual assault in this kind of a debate when we are actually talking about a very, very serious issue with society today in India.
Now, can I say something, Arnab?
I think it's an important issue that you have raised, and you're responding to what Meenakshi Lekhi has said there on gradation. Would you like to take that back?
You see,
you'd like to take that back?
No, I won't. I will explain it to her. Has she read 375, 376? Does she know that punishment exists on the law book? 7 years, 10 years, life imprisonment, and one is asking for death penalty in cases like what has happened in Delhi. I mean, people need to understand it. It's not black and white all the time. These are grey areas.
But this is not the time to discuss such matters. I think today we are talking about societal issues.
Miss Shaw, you have brought out a very technical subject, and let me explain it to you. If this is not the time, I think people should start understanding. Those who rake up 2002 all the time, they should know when they discuss BJP as bourgeois party, they should know that Naxals commit rape to get their people into the force. So all kinds of rape happen in this country, and this is not even a women.
No, two wrongs. A million wrongs don't make a right. A million wrongs don't make a right.
Arnab, can I please speak?
No, Meenakshi.
Arnab.
Meenakshi, let's get Meenakshi.
The fault in the frivolous.
Yes, Meenakshi, but you know, we cannot say that you do it, they do it, everyone does it. That's not an argument. She wants to respond.
We need to talk about gender sensitization. That's the only way to go about dealing with this issue.
One sec.
And let's keep it at that.
Meenakshi, please. Radhika Ganesh is coming into the discussion. She makes a quick point that I'm going to Shaina NC. Yes, Radhika, who are you responding to?
We need to talk about broad-based gender sensitization. She's talking about Naxals raping women to get them in. How can we be okay with such things? We need to talk about gender sensitization on the whole.
Absolutely.
It's a societal issue.
Let her complete.
It's a societal issue. We need to deal with it at the most
whether the governments of Orissa and Jaipur, Orissa and Rajasthan will tell us where Bitti Mohanty is. Find Bitti Mohanty. Let that be a campaign. Has he gone abroad?
They find it convenient to use
father, can you get away with rape?
As photo opportunities.
Arnab, is it an advantage or
disadvantage? Where till now nobody has been punished. Till now.
Yes.
Just because it involves national security, you can do anything.
Nothing justifies sexual assault. To Shaina NC, my question is this. Hear me, Shaina. 1 second.
Say something.
Will Smriti Irani, Shaina NC and Meenakshi Lekhi also go down to Bhopal and start a demonstration tomorrow?
Yes,
because, allow me to complete, because Madhya Pradesh tops the list of states with the highest number of reported rape cases last year. Yeah. So 1 minute, charity begins at home. Please all fly down to Bhopal and have a campaign. That's the only way for you to convince me, Shaina NC, that this is not a political campaign. For us, it's not. But what about political parties? Let me put that to Shaina NC, please. Shaina, will you do that?
Please speak and give me a chance, because I've been patient and I don't know if it's an advantage or a disadvantage in your debate. But having said that, when you talked about an SMS that you received that the members of parliament were shedding crocodile tears. Now, if the members of parliament had not raised this and persistently across the board spoken about it, would we all be talking about this in such a big way today? The question here is, if Sheila Dikshit, or for that matter the Chief Minister of any state, if they want to take a proactive decision, what should that have been? That should have been a suggestion that we want our security, our personal security to be foregone for the betterment of the city. We need to deploy women-sensitive police force that is actually there to help in cases such as this. And when one keeps on talking about bystanders who don't have a legal responsibility but a moral responsibility, how do you expect a bystander to even fight if the police force is not present? We've seen on multiple cases where you don't even have a beat constable. So I think the larger issue is the point of your debate today, which is give up your own security but make sure that your city is much safer.
Shaina, please. Shaina wants, no, she's answered on everyone's behalf. No, Shaina, my point is, I don't think Sushma Swaraj and others are speaking, and that's why the people are raising the issue. No. It's because people and the media are raising the issue that the politicians are forced to speak. Do you agree with me, ma'am? Saiba, ma'am, do you agree?
And if they didn't, it would be another topic of discussion.
उस इशू में सबसे बड़ा इम्पोर्टेंट बात ये है जो महिला संगठन उठा रहे हैं कि कन्विक्शन रेट इतना कम है इन सारे केसेस के अंदर कि लोगों को एक हिम्मत रहती है, उनको लगता है कि हम कुछ भी करके निकल जाएंगे, कोई पूछने वाला नहीं है। बुनियादी सवाल ये है कि उसको कैसे इम्प्रूव किया जाए, और उसमें आपकी पॉलिटिकल विल भी जरूरी है, उसमें आपके लिए जरूरत है कि आप लोगों को साथ लेकर के खड़े हो। आज जिस तरह से दिल्ली में लोग निकले, इतने सालों से हम महिला संगठन में, हमने सालों के बाद देखा है कि लोग खुद सड़कों पर निकल के आए, क्योंकि पिछले 1 साल में लगातार घटनाएं हो रही हैं जो दहला रही हैं आदमी को। डर लग रहा है उससे कि ये क्या होगा, और इसका बहुत बड़ी जरूरत है कि हम इन इश्यूज को फोकस करें।
आप ये केसेस के बारे में कह रहे हैं, मैं और एक केस के बारे में कहना चाहूंगा, और आज ये बहुत ही जरूरी है। 2003 के अक्टूबर में एक 35 साल की स्विस नेशनल थी फिल्म मेकर सिरीफोर्ट रेप केस, इट वाज रजिस्टर्ड, और 10,000 दिल्ली पुलिस के लोगों को इस केस पे लगाया गया। हम भी रिपोर्टर थे, हम इस स्टोरी को कवर कर रहे थे। 2008 में दिल्ली पुलिस फाइल्ड अ क्लोजर रिपोर्ट सेइंग इट हैज नॉट बीन एबल टू फाइंड अ सिंगल सस्पेक्ट। सो I just don't know today, Sabha, that 10,000 Delhi police personnel cannot find a single suspect in the rape of a foreign national.
So I want to say something.
After 5 years.
It's not just it's not just a question of removing the police from security, which I think most citizens would support, because VIP security to all of us seems such a wasteful thing, and it's public money. But the quality of the policing, the sensitivity of the policing, I think your panelist from Chennai also spoke about, when people are not afraid of the police also. The question comes when women interact with men in uniform and they're louds or badly trained or they're crude, that is also a level at which a violence takes place.
One last,
what about when police women get beaten up by the louds and the Home Minister does not make a statement on that? Is that not important? When we are discussing law and order in every corner.
No, that's true. But Rajesh, something happened right now, and I want to share it. I'll pull out the clip. It's very revealing. It's not with me right now, but our reporter heard this. Who was at India Gate when the police was interacting with one of the protesters? One of the protesters asked the police, "आप लोग PCR van क्यों नहीं रखते हैं रात को? Why don't you have the PCR vans?" And the police person says to the protester, "आप लोग रात में निकलते ही क्यों हो?
That's it.
Why do you come out?" This is today. What I am broadcasting tonight is 5 minutes back. That is what is happening. Complete indifference to the armed.
अर्नब, हम पुलिस कमिश्नर के पास गए थे, आज दिन भर प्रोटेस्ट किया। गेट पर 1 मिनट, पुलिस गेट के ऊपर पुलिस वाले खड़े होके बोल रहे थे, अरे यार ये थोड़ा आप किसविस कर रहे होंगे, इसीलिए वो एक्साइटेड हो गए। ये वहाँ, और हमने नीरज कुमार को रिपोर्ट किया, उन्होंने नाम देखा, क्या नाम देख के बताइए कौन था वो? अब हम जाके नाम देख कर आएंगे, फिर बताएंगे। मतलब आपके पुलिस की इंसेक्ट
absolutely shocking. There is no gender sensitization of the police.
Everywhere.
Yeah, Bina.
Whether common citizens in our country, whether we in Manipur or in Delhi or in Mumbai, we don't feel safe either in our houses, in our society, or from armed violence continuing. And the police have failed totally in their duty to protect us. Sarojini Nagar bomb blast, no one has reported who did it. We are living in a time in India where 27% increase in defense budget, where more weapons are brought in, more militarization is done, but nothing for citizen security. We demand security at every citizen.
And tonight, one sec, I'll give a last word to Radhika Ganesh, who's our viewer from Bangalore today. Yes, Radhika, to you the last word on this program before I wrap up.
At this going rate, Arnab, if you put more policemen on the streets, I might be more in danger than actually being saved.
Unfortunately.
So at this, with their level of incompetence.
You have to have procedures and learn the lessons from those cases.
Well, I'd like to thank everyone for joining me. It's been a robust discussion. Nothing, at this point of time, we need to keep the pressure up on the police and the politicians. The Chief Minister is visiting the victim and her family in hospital, but Ms. Sheila Dikshit, for once, please go beyond symbolism. Back in a couple of minutes on the News Hour.